G'day legends, back for another video, something different while we wait for season 3 to come out. It's just a week away, in fact. But I thought we'd go through some of the tech from the Roubaix stage at Tour de France last night. If anyone watched it, it was absolutely hectic. And of course, Cycling Tips have got their cool little galleries, which is pretty sweet. And this is always interesting, something that I love seeing. Look at the tech. Look at how deep they go with their PSI gauges, down to 48 PSI apparently for this team. That's on the KTM bike. What a stinking rig that is. But look at this thing. Really, really dialed in. The pressures are super important when it comes to the pavé sectors. And the riders seem to be super sensitive to it now as well. So 48 PSI on these wide tyres. You can run much lower pressures. Is that a puncher? Interesting little gauge here. I bet that probably cost a fortune, that thing. But look, some of these things here, a lot of the teams running the Continental tubeless, super popular, as they say down here. But the teams that can't use them have to black them out. So they might be running Vittoria, might be their normal sponsor, but they've worked out that these are the fastest tyres, the Continentals, which are known to be so. But they've got to scribble out the branding. But you'd think, like, wouldn't they just get sent tyres without the branding on them? Like, I'm sure, like, it's like probably the last step when they're making the tyres, the manufacturer is putting on the stickers. So maybe they can go, give us 1,000 non-branded ones for Roubaix and that sort of stuff. But there's plenty of that going around. A lot of shoes as well. The riders wear different branded shoes from their team sponsors, and often the shoes will just be unbranded, on unbranded S-Works 7s, for example, like Luke Durbridge, or I think Caleb Ewan's one as well. But so some teams still using the tubulars. That's pretty old school, gluing them on. Obviously, as soon as you get a puncher, that's it. You need to change your tyre. The tubeless setup, can handle a couple of sealant. The sealant's in there to help with any punnies, but supposed to be quite a nice feel, tubulars, if anyone's ever ridden them. And got a new special S-Works tyre. They were running 32s. If you were watching the coverage last night, Total Direct Energy, you could see their tyres were noticeably wider. That's 32 mil. I mean, I wonder what the limit will be. But this is a special S-Works tyre, unannounced. Peter Sagan on 72 PSI. Now, I think Sagan's he's about 72 kilos, around about that. So, yeah, that's interesting. On tubeless, you can run lower pressures. 72 is about right. Lighter riders could probably be sitting on around 50. Maybe perhaps that's what we saw on the KTM bike earlier with the 48 PSI. You see you got different treads there, quite smooth on top, and then a little bit of side tread for some coring. But a lot of the times the brands like Specialized, they actually rely on the riders to give them feedback on how these tyres perform before they push them out to market. I can't imagine S-Works putting out their sort of Roubaix tyre and announcing it before around the time for Roubaix next year. So this is probably a prototype that Sagan and the team are testing, giving them feedback so they can sort of go, yeah, okay, we'll try this sort of tread, and Sagan and Daniel Oss probably say, nah, it was rubbish, and they'll go back and change it rather than giving them a new tyre for Roubaix next year. At least they can try it out on this stage, which isn't as important as Paris-Roubaix. So we'll see what that tyre, when it gets released, but I bet you it won't be until next year. What else we got here? 32. Yeah, it's pretty wide. Yeah, a little scroller. Course controls. That's a really good tyre. Very popular amongst the peloton. Most teams do run with Vittoria. Maybe that's why they're so hard to get for consumers. If you ever tried to get a set of course controls and that are not 23s, it's actually super hard to get them. At least it is in WA. So it's because the teams have got them all. It's a beautiful, beautiful tyre, the course controls. And as you can see there, it's pretty popular up and down the paddock, as they say. Now, Trek, interestingly, remember in Paris-Roubaix this year, they had big trouble with punches all day long. We saw Stuyven get that puncher late. And I was interested to see what tyres they would run for yesterday's stage. And they stuck with Pirelli and they didn't have any problems, albeit, on easier parkour. But, it's interesting. The Pirellis, a soft tyre. I wonder what this X means here. That must signify something. But anyway, 30 mils. So most teams often with 30 mils. Now, how about these for coffeeters? Look at the height of these tan walls. What is going on there? They are so high. That's like, I mean, you can run that's probably a 32 or maybe a 40 mil depth wheel, but with the tyre on it, that's a 60 mil deep wheel with the tyre. How about that? Lightweight rim with your low profile, but then you make up your depth with your aerodynamic gains with the tyre. Maybe that's the next thing coming. But yeah, really interesting. I haven't ridden Michelin's before, so they're new back into the tyre game for cycling. So yeah, if you've ridden on them, let me know. Put them in the comments. Has anyone actually ridden these things? Because, geez, how could you go against Specialized Vittoria or Continental? Of course, you got the Durace wheel, super popular. Here's the Movistar Canyon, the Air Road, the older Air Road as well, with the elite bottle cages. You know, you can see here a lot of the teams all run these with the transponders, so the timing chip is underneath there. Now, most teams, well, it used to be maybe last year, the year before, um, most teams had it on the outside, but I think if you've got clearance with your forks, they're starting to move them on the inside now with this little aero covering, which you can buy on Amazon if you want to get these at home, actually. So you'll see here there's a few more pictures that show the bars or these things on the outside and on the inside. But here's Movistar's bar tape. So you can see here it's wrapped all the way to the end. Now, these bars are quite nice to ride on. They're very nice to ride on because they usually put the tape sort of close to the edge here and let this for your palms when you're sitting on the tops. But for today's or last night's stage, they wrap to the end because you've got to remember, yeah, okay, it's quite nice riding on here, but on the pave, that'll rip your hands up. And for a one-day race, you might go, oh, forget it. But you remember, they've got 15 stages to go. So they've got to look after their hands for the next 2 weeks. So that's why they wrap it like that. I don't think they would if it was Paris-Roubaix. They'd just run with the normal bars and maybe tape their hands up. So, yeah, this is Sagan's Roubaix. He didn't run the SL7. I think that's a bit of marketing stuff, really, because, like, why are you getting this Roubaix if you can just buy the SL7 or the Diverge? Why would you? Why would you not run the Diverge as a normal consumer? As a normal consumer, you either want a bike that can have wider tires, so you can ride on the gravel, or you want the road bike, so you buy the SL7. Why would you buy this? I think that's Specialized hanging on to the fact that they're trying to make sales out of this bike. I just don't think so. I think they killed it with their new Diverge. But the Durace mechanical, so Sagan raced on mechanical. He's done that for the last few years, which is pretty cool. It's cool to see the mechanical still get a run. When mechanical's well tuned, it does work very well. But I mean, he's one of the only riders doing this. And I mean, if the electronics was that bad, like surely everyone else would be on mechanical. But anyway, there he is on mechanical. Looks pretty good. Levers nice, and the levers are good on mechanical. A little bit more streamlined. You got the K-edge mounts. They're getting pretty neat and tidy, aren't they? There's the new Scott bike, pretty sweet. You can see this. They've got the transponder on the outside, which is interesting. There's plenty of room there for it to go on the inside. See that? There's the little thing there. Yeah, pretty interesting. Weird little saddle. Look at that. You got your name on your saddle. Matthew Van der Poel. How about that? Look at that. Right in the gooch. Nice. This is his stem. We've seen this before. I think maybe Jesse Coyle does some good videos. Check out his channel as well. But he sort of broke down Van der Poel's nutrition plan for Roubaix. Much longer, of course. It was 250 Ks, but they were trying to work out what the smiley face means. I think that's feed zone. It was 80 Ks. They hit the first sector. Then you got a bit of a gap. And then it's time to get your feed zone. That's 2 hours of racing. Yeah, you'd probably be ready for a big feed then. That makes sense. People are thinking finishing bottle, but I reckon, yeah, maybe that's finishing bottle. 40 Ks to go, I would say, with about an hour in there. Or caffeinated. Maybe that's why that's yellow. You want to have caffeine at the start and then caffeine at the end. I don't know what this is. Now, this is weird. This is on Canyons. This is on Matthew Van der Poel's bike. The seat post wraps to alleviate the seat post wear issues. What is wearing? I don't understand what is actually wearing there. Like if you're moving the seat post up and down, like, I don't understand what is actually wearing. I should probably click that link, but I won't for now. We'll find out. And then Movistar also running with this weird head tube thing here. So this is apparently to make it, to extra strength over the cobbles. Yeah, it's a bit weird, but there you go. And look at this. They're still testing for motors. It's good to see, I guess. I mean, it's just funny that it takes an iPad. That's all it takes. Seems a bit gamified, eh? Yeah, bit weird, that thing. And of course the Trek, the Demanes is pretty nice. Well, the Madones, sorry, the Demanes are on the roof of the car. You can see there they've got their transponders on the inside. Of course, look at that cutout. That's crazy, isn't it? That's something different. Nice setups of SRAM there. There's the what are they called? The Amonda? No, Demane, all set up. Don't think anyone had to use those. Setting up one by. Now, how about this? This is what actually prompted me to make the video. Look at this. They rubber band to keep the battery on, because obviously it could rattle out over the cobbles. That is bizarre. That's a really smart idea, but I mean, that isn't exactly locked in. Surely you tape it with a bit of electrical tape. But yeah, interesting. I wonder if that'll be a feature later on in the next SRAM access group sets, where they try and make that engagement maybe a bit firmer. Because if it's popping out on the cobbles, like what if you drop down on a curb as a normal punter, or go over a big bump? Like if your battery's popping out or could pop out, it's not exactly what you want, is it? And you can see here they've got the rubber on the cages, little rubber ends. That's usually a bit of inner tube. They just cut old inner tube, and they've got little rubber inserts there. That looks like it's a proper feature, and that's a cable tie. So that'll just shred the bottle up. Maybe that holds in this bit here. You've got some more there as well. But if you're taking your bottle in and out of that cage all day long, this will probably eventually come off, because it will grip to the bottle. So yeah, it's interesting. The little tech, all those little features adds up. There's still plenty of room on these bikes for a thicker tire if they wanted. Yeah, here's Van Baarle's bike. You can see it looks extra thick tape there for Van Baarle. He had a pretty good ride as well. Look how thick that is. That is crazy. Double wrapped. That would feel pretty good too on the cobbles, I bet. It'd make a big, big difference. And what are we looking at here? Through axles, yeah, we've all seen that. Through axles, pretty cool. Bora didn't go with the Roubaix bike. Like I said before, I think that's just a bit of marketing, just trying to get rid of those frames. The SL7, no sock, no sleeve for the transponder. Yeah, really interesting there. I wonder why. Surely these can be built into the bikes. But yeah, look at that Band of Brothers socks. They love that branding, isn't it? And the nice look at these new stands. They're running with these stands now, hooking them up on the rear stays. But, geez, I kind of prefer the ones, that hook into the rear hub there, the normal stands. So this one, I don't know, your stays are pretty delicate. What if you knocked it or, metal on metal? They'd have a rubber sleeve on them. But anyway, what else we got here? There's the Roubaix. Looking pretty good. There's more SL7s. The Supercaz bar tape. Now, the Supercaz brand, which is why most Specializers come with Supercaz, is because the son, I believe, of the founder of Specialized has started Supercaz, which is why they have that affiliation, and why the colours available for Supercaz tapes are very conveniently matched to the bikes and the specialized colorways you can get. But yeah, we got any satellite shifters here? Oh, there we go. Sprint shifters, nothing up top. I think we see some more later. Nice Aero K-Edge mount as well. Anyone's used K-Edge, these are beautiful mounts. That's the Wahoo insert, I think, there as well. Look, you got feed zone at 92, similar to Magic Vanderpool as well. Wonder why these are highlighted. Force, maybe feed zones, don't know. More K-Edge mounts. These are super nice, a really nice machined product. So if you need an out front mount, K-Edge really are quite good. There's the Giant bikes, looks pretty good. Is that TCR? And they've got theirs on the outside. Look at that. Yuck. That could be done a little cleaner. And you can see how wide these tyres are. Look, they've got the overlap over the rim as well on those. Pretty nice. There's the Velon data. You see the Velon CC. That's where they get their data from. When you can see those live updates that you see on Twitter and the YouTube videos, that's how they get the data. Some riders give out their data, some don't. Others, they're allowed to post segments. So maybe they did a 25-second sprint, for example, Mads Pedersen, but they might only be allowed to give a portion of that out to the public. So they say, his max power was 1100 watts and he did 10 seconds. They're allowed 10 seconds of that power data to share with the public, but they won't give all of it, which is very interesting. You don't want to give away all your secrets, right? Here's the Caledonias that they were riding on. Roglic gets the nice top spec Caledonia, but then they give Sepp Kuss the sort of the next spec down. Isn't that weird? He doesn't get the top end bike. Like, surely they've got enough fresh Caledonia top end specs, to give to their team. I mean, it's Jumbo Visma, for God's sake. You see he's got the satellite shifters up there for shifting on the hoods. That's pretty cool. Sometimes you can set up your Garmin or so your DR2 to shift at the top of the hoods. That's pretty nice as well. But when you're on the cobbles, you're mostly spending, at least when it counts, your time on these hoods. So little shifters here are quite nice for the thumb. And you can see they've got this is that little bit of string, a bit of cord that attaches to the Garmin. So when the Garmin or they crash, the Garmin could go flying. It just keeps it on the bike, and that way, if you crash and you got to get back up, get back in the Pello, you don't have to spend hours looking for your bloody unit. And then how about this? Simon Clark, the winner. How crafty is it? Ice cold, ice in his veins, not reacting to Nissan Palace, even when Eddie Boss was just holding steady. But one bottle cage for Simon Clark. How about that? Really, really interesting. I mean, that's great if you're in the breakaway because you've always got a team car or the motorbike following you that has the bottles on there. So you can just go back to the bike or the car, pick up a bottle, and you're done. But what about a standard road stage? Like, you're going to need more than one bottle because you could be found out, and he's not exactly a team leader, is he? He's just, he's in there for stage hunting. He doesn't have teammates going back for bottles for him. He doesn't command that. But yeah, really interesting as well. One stage bottles. But anyway, just a little filler video for you guys to listen. I quite like the tech, and I quite like getting right into all this sort of stuff. And these galleries are great. They're really, really good to look at. Great photos. The Gruber family, or the Gruber husband and wife, I think they take most of these. And we've got season 3's coming up next week. So the podcast will be starting. I'll put the videos on YouTube as well. So make sure you subscribe. I'll put the full videos up for going forward. So you can kind of, if you want to watch on YouTube and see us, me and the guest laughing. But it should be good. So I'll see you guys all next week. Look out for the Press Room podcast on all your podcast players. If you haven't listened to it already, subscribe and make sure you got the videos and so the podcast episodes coming to your feed right away. All right, legends. I'll see you then.